Welcome to Legacy Mentor Wednesday, where I draw from my cards and share with you one of the letters of the alphabet and a key word associated with living legacy life in its entirety, and also a key phrase that one can use, like opening a door and going, that's an interesting look at things. So let's get going. Today, the letter I picked out was N, and it's an interesting one because it's sort of there in the middle of the alphabet, and I was thinking, okay, maybe it's a multifaceted letter. Sure enough, when I checked it, it is. It's multifaceted in the sense that it has many explanations and descriptions across many different traditions, and I thought that was fascinating. I hadn't really realized that. And the letter itself suggests freedom and flexibility, adventure, communication. That sounds great. And then when I looked up the tree from a Canadian perspective, I went, I don't think I can remember a tree starting with N. So in my research, I found nannyberry. Nanny, as in someone who takes care of children. And I went, okay, well, what's a nannyberry? Well, it's actually a shrub. It is in more of the eastern side of Canada. And I went, this is great. So it's a pollinator. It has fruit. It supports wildlife. It's probably one of those sort of more nondescript, but yet fills in the landscape. And therefore, it can be used ornamentally. And I have to admit, I don't think I've ever found a nannyberry, or I went looking for a nannyberry. Wow. So maybe when I'm back on the eastern side of Canada again at some point in time, I'm going to look up a nannyberry and see what it actually looks like. So when it comes to the 5 words that start with the letter N, I'm going to share them in the following order. There's nobility, network, narrative, newness, and nurture. In these 5 words, I'm going to go in reverse order. So I'll start with nurture, as in to take care of someone or something. I use this verb quite often when I'm speaking about legacy, and you're nurturing your intention, nurturing your purpose, nurturing your activities, your decisions. It's one of those words I just kind of like because it has that gentle feeling to it when you're thinking about the actions that you're going to actually take. The next one is newness, as in a new activity, a new idea. And this one is a word, I don't know if I use it that often in my own writing, but it's there, it's present, and I find other ways to, like a new story, the origin story or original story or the historic story. I don't tend to use like new story. So sometimes I'm going to have to explore newness and see where I might be able to bring it into the foreground of my writing. If not, it's okay. I just acknowledge that. Now, when it comes to narrative, I think about that from this whole idea of narrative theory. There's a theory about the importance of narrative, the importance of words. And that has been a theme throughout all of my work. And when it comes to living legacy life, I understand that words matter and that the narrative, the conversations that you're having with others matter. And therefore, how can you improve your narrative? Maybe what you've got to do is look for something that's new in what it is you want to share and nurture it. Just thinking out loud there. The next one is network. And I always remember network as sort of an ecological value, that the network, the connections among things. And we as human beings, when we interact with one another, we have networks. But it's interesting, we've actually taken network, which was predominantly a noun, and now use it as to network, an action that you can take. So with that, in legacy life, there's lots of networking. Tap into many different kinds of networks as you move forward. And when you get into living legacy life, to stories, to outdoors, there's lots of networks that you can connect with. Those that are founded by human beings, those that are founded because of what nature is doing naturally. So give a look out for your networks. And the last word that I would give you is nobility. Now, I appreciate this is because from an influence and impact point of view, in figuring out your purpose and your intention and serving them, the commitment, the courage that goes with that, there is a nobility, a recognition of something that's of higher service. And I like that word. Again, it's not one I use very often, but the noble, notable kind of idea about the legacy that you might have and sharing it as you're moving forward. And being able to pick up on that through the stories that you're going to share, interacting with nature and finding the nobility in nature. There's something here from those 5 words of nurture, newness, narrative, network, and nobility. So give N a chance and see what happens, encouraging you. And there's a flower for the day as you look out the window and see the mountain. Now, if we've not met, I'm Stephen. I'm a legacy mentor with Wealth Movement, involved in the living legacy life to stories to outdoor mix, and helping those who would like to become a legacyant to move forward with that. And the word that I have also picked up today that's the single word that sort of fits with being a legacy mentor is to grasp the challenge. Now, we're faced with challenges each day. There are issues that front up, and some of those issues are problems, some of those issues are appreciations. And those problems give us concern. Those appreciations give us joy. And therefore, how do you solve the problem? How do you extend or expand the appreciation? So when it comes to the challenge that you're facing, being able to grasp it and understand it before you go diving into it. It's like remembering is just know where the deep and the shallow end of a swimming pool is before you dive in. Grasp where you are, the situation, the challenge. What's the boundary that might be around that challenge that you can understand? You may have to interpret it, make it bigger or smaller as you move forward. But to grasp that challenge is an important element of living your legacy life. Because as you're 60 plus, an educator, an outdoor educator, an adult outdoor educator, we have to understand where we are in our life and our journey, and being able to say, okay, from a unique journey point of view, what are these adventures together that I want to take? What are the new ones? What narrative have I got to tap into? What's the nobility that I want to share as I'm moving forward? So give this notion of grasp the challenge its due time in your adventures together, in your unique journey. When it comes to the phrase that I pull up, today I got sense making and making sense. And I like this one is because it's a reminder. Yeah, I mentioned this notion of grasp the challenge. The sense making is making sense of what's going on in it, to really dive into it and really appreciate it. Because in finding the common sense that's there, then you can figure out what might be the evolving sense of what's there. And so making sense and sense making are skills that open up the knowledge that is there so that you can figure out what wisdom you can share. And with that, you come to understand what you value as you're moving along. And with that value comes a sense of that truth and worth and usefulness or utility. And therefore, as you're able to unfold and enfold whatever that situation, that challenge that you've grasped, and you can find that sense making, then you can lean into, often we think about our hearing and our sight, but also listening, at tasting and smelling. But I would go so far as get into the multi senses, into the soluble mix. So you have that sense of the physical, the mental, emotional. There's a soluble aspect there called the multi senses, and being able to find a way in which to intuit what is taking place. So that is bringing forth this whole sense of sense making and making sense. And again, I would be encouraging you to make great use and value of grasping the challenge and sense making and making sense. As you use these N words, they will help you out as you grasp the challenge and make sense and sense make. So there's quite an interesting mix. So I would encourage you to listen again to these prompts and see how they might influence you in writing legacy stories, living your legacy life, and how you might engage with the muse and metaphor of nature, whether it's from a distance or in it as you immerse yourself with nature. As we close out, what you'll notice is some video being put here for you. There's a video that's prompted because of your past history of watching with the channel, but also there's the playlist. And this is a playlist of prompts that can really help you out in your journaling, your thinking about what it is you want to do, this notion of nurturing your narrative, finding anything that might be new. So watch those videos and see what happens, and leave a comment. What did you pull out of today's video, Legacy Mentor video? With that, take care.